All right, we need to have a discussion today, ladies and gentlemen, because the Philadelphia Eagles are 8-0, and the narrative that's been going around for a couple of weeks is just flat out annoying and haterish. You guys sipping the haterade, all right? First of all, thank you for being here. I want to let you guys know, so a lot of you have been asking me where's your Eagles content at, and I want to apologize to you for not having any Eagles content for the past couple of weeks. I kind of fell off. The Phillies were in the World Series Saturday, and then Sunday they played there was a bye week, then the Phillies World Series, then Sunday played the Steelers. I found it hard to care about that game because the Steelers are terrible, and I knew that was going to be a smackdown, even though they started out a little bit slow, 7-0, but I had no worries about that game. It's Kenny Pickett, let's be serious. Then they played Thursday night, the same night that the Phillies played in the World Series again, so that was, again, hard to pay attention to, and it was the Houston Texans. They're terrible. Who cares? But I want to have a discussion today because the Philadelphia Eagles are 8-0. They are 8-0. And the narrative going around is that they didn't play anybody. They haven't played anybody. Oh, but who have they played? Who have they played? Listen, first of all, it doesn't make sense, for you to bring that up in a discussion. Because if a team is better than everyone they play, they're a good team, right? Do you have to play the top team in the NFL every single week to be labeled a good team? If the Philadelphia Eagles were not a great team right now, they would have lost at least one or two of these games. And we're going to go over the schedule and who they've beaten, who the other teams have lost to in a minute. If they were not a great team, they would have lost a couple of these games. So if you're just that much better than everybody, then it's, they didn't play anybody. What do you want them to join a different league? What do you want them to play this is the best football league in the world, and they're 8-0. So you got to be pretty damn good to be able to do that, right? So if they don't play anybody, what do you want them to do? There's no better there's no better league on this planet. There's nobody else for them to play. That's like saying the 96 Bulls weren't that good because everybody in the league sucked. Or were they that much better than everybody? I can't handle that narrative. It doesn't make sense. If they were mid or just barely good, they would be struggling with some of these teams. The fact that they haven't struggled really with any of these teams, except for maybe the Texans a little bit in the first half because they were on a short week and it was the World Series. I think they were partying with the Phillies the night before. But it just doesn't make sense. Now, first of all, we got to visit our good friend Dan Sileo on Twitter, and I just love the guy's last name, Dan Silly. Because his takes are silly, okay? And I don't know how he's considered a Philadelphia content creator or a Philly sports media personality. He's on Jacob Media. I don't know. All right, but Dan Sileo says, look at the bums. The Eagles play the next 9 weeks of the NFL schedule. Worst teams in the NFL. And then he follows up his own tweet with the Eagles have played bums. So you're telling me there's 17. If we go 17-0, and we played the Cowboys twice, the Skins twice, and the Skins, you know what I'm saying, the Commanders twice, and the Giants twice. That means there's 14 bums in the NFL. There's 14 bums in the NFL. It's just a nonsense take. All right. NFL power rankings. Oh, look who's number one. Now this is the main point that I want to make here. You can't play. Here's the power rankings. The Eagles are 1, the Chiefs are 2, the Bills are 3, the Minnesota Vikings are 4. Ooh, I think just maybe the Philadelphia Eagles convincingly beat the Minnesota Vikings this season. Oh, look, the Dallas Cowboys are 5. I think the Philadelphia Eagles convincingly beat the Dallas Cowboys this season. Wow. That's so crazy that we didn't play anybody, but two of the 10 teams in the top 10 power rankings we beat convincingly. Miami Dolphins, Baltimore Ravens, New York Jets, Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers. Now look, this is what I'm saying here. Look at this chart. Offensive EPA per play and defensive EPA per play on this chart. The 3 teams that are miles ahead of everybody in the NFL are the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Eagles. All three of these teams are great offensively and defensively. The Chiefs, not so much defensively. The Bills and the Eagles are great offensively and defensively. Nobody else in the entire NFL is close to being as good as these teams offensively and defensively combined. So unless we play the Bills or the Chiefs every week, we're going to beat up on all of these other teams because they are not as good. It's that simple. You can't be 8-0 without being a dominant football team in the NFL. You just can't be 8-0. Shout out to my guy Lord Brunson, who posted this on Twitter, and I find this very interesting because when speaking of the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, here's all the teams that we have beat, and here's their wins and losses so far on the season, and it's interesting because they beat the Cardinals, a solid team. The Chiefs beat the Cardinals, solid team. The Chiefs beat the Chargers, solid team with an injured quarterback. The Chiefs lost to the Colts, LOL. This is a main point that I'm making here is that if the Eagles were not dominant, were not 8-0 great, they would have lost a couple of these games. The Chiefs beat the Tampa Bay Bucks, who, let's be honest, Tom Brady should have retired. They are washed. The Chiefs beat the Raiders, bad team. The Chiefs beat the Bills, somebody had to lose. The Chiefs beat the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, and the Chiefs beat the Tennessee Titans, who barely beat Malik Willis. The Bills beat the LA Rams, wash team. They have not been good this season. Super Bowl hangover. The Tennessee Titans, solid team. They lost to the Miami Dolphins. That's a good team. They beat the Baltimore Ravens, good team, but they are choke artists. They beat the Steelers. That's a terrible team. They beat the Chiefs. Somebody had to win. They beat the Green Bay Packers, who have been bad. Aaron Rodgers should have retired also, and they beat the Jets. They lost to the Jets. I'm sorry. That's a solid team, but still, you lost. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Detroit Lions, that's a bad team. They beat the Minnesota Vikings convincingly. That's the second best team in the NFC. They beat the Washington Commanders, mid. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, mid. They beat the Arizona Cardinals. That's a solid team. If they were not 8-0 great, they probably lose that and have more of a struggle with the Minnesota Vikings. They beat the Dallas Cowboys. That's the top defense in the NFL. Yeah, it was Cooper Rush. But he was 4-0 before that game. Don't forget that. They were talking about a quarterback controversy before the Philadelphia Eagles brought him back down to earth. They were talking about Cooper Rush taking Dak Prescott's job before the Eagles brought him back down to earth. And then it was just Cooper Rush. Wait till we get Dak back. Oh, I can't wait for that. And then we beat the Steelers and the Texans. So it's ridiculous to say that the Eagles are overrated. It's ridiculous to say that the Eagles didn't play anybody. It's ridiculous to say any of that because they've played good teams, they've played bad teams. The Bills played good teams and bad teams. The Chiefs played good teams and bad teams. Everybody in the NFL has played good teams and bad teams. The only difference is the Philadelphia Eagles have beat the good teams and the bad teams. So no, the Philadelphia Eagles are not overrated. I am interested to see what they do when the playoffs come around. I am interested to see how Jalen Hurts performs in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts has blown my mind this season. He's been unbelievable. He changed some of his mechanics in the offseason. He's staying in the pocket. He's reading the field. He's putting the ball all over the place. He's been phenomenal. You guys told me he's going to be MVP of the league this year. I thought you were out of your damn minds. You might be right. He might be the MVP of the league. And really what I want to say before this video is over is the way the Eagles are 8-0 is that they have one of the best offenses in the league and one of the best defenses in the league. Howie Roseman shored up the linebacker position. He signed James Bradbury. We got 2 lockdown corners. He signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Marcus Epps has been playing great. We got great safeties back there. Our defensive line is always great with Howie Roseman at the helm. The offense, I mean, let's be serious. He trades for A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith is a stud. You got Dallas Goedert. You got one of the best offensive lines in football. You got a healthy Miles Sanders. There's no weakness on this team, so it makes perfect sense that they're 8-0 and they've beat everybody convincingly, including the 6-1 Minnesota Vikings. That's where I'm at with it. You guys give me all your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I'm happy to be back talking Eagles. Y'all have a good day. Peace.